Hello and welcome to Inside Jacksonville, a production of the University of North Florida School of Communication and the CW17. I'm Ryan Luke. We're here each month with stories about life on the First Coast. First up, Inside Jacksonville's Tristan Larrabee takes us to downtown St. Augustine, where artist Lenny Foster is documenting the city's history one photograph at a time.
Inside Gallery 144 in St. Augustine, history isn't just remembered. It's captured through the lens of resident artist Lenny Foster, whose photography brings the city's rich civil rights story into focus.
So I started discovering what took place in St. Augustine, none of which I'd ever heard about. And I discovered the national activists and the local civil rights activists, who they were, what they did here, and why they did it, and where. So with each story, I would do a little research, and I would take a pair of shoes or pairs of shoes and put them in these locations to represent these people, and I'd write the narrative.
Foster's work documents powerful moments of protest and progress, giving viewers a closer look at the people and places that shaped St. Augustine's role in the civil rights movement.
I was close to the Lincolnville Museum and Cultural Center, which people must attend. They must go visit there. The Lincolnville Museum and Cultural Center, over 400 years of history is there.
Lenny's work and many others are often featured here at the Lincolnville Museum and Cultural Center, previously Excelsior High School, the first high school for African Americans in St. Johns County. Coming
here, I was very excited about discovering this history and the St. Augustine culture and the civil rights movement and the locals who sacrificed much and put everything on the line to stand up for their rights. And I remember one guy, he shook my hand, held my hand. He said, "Thank you so much. I had no idea that this is what happened here."
Through every image, Foster preserves a story that still resonates today, reminding the community that the fight for equality is part of St. Augustine's living history. This is Tristan Larrabee, Inside Jacksonville.
For more information on Lenny's gallery and his art, you can visit his website at gallery144.com. As Jacksonville continues to grow and change, organizations are working to make sure the city's history isn't forgotten. Inside Jacksonville's Isabella Lazo takes us to the Jacksonville History Center, where one group is focused on preserving the people, places, and stories that help shape the city.
Jacksonville is a city constantly growing and changing, but its story stretches back generations. Behind the scenes, organizations like the Jacksonville Historical Society work to preserve the people, places, and moments that shape the city we see today.
So the argument in favor of that is that the more we understand about the people and events of the places where we live, where we work, the more we know about their experience, the more fully we understand the place that we occupy today. So this organization was founded here in Jacksonville in 1929
on the anniversary of the Great Fire. Founded as the Jacksonville Historical Society, but rebranded over this past few years as the Jacksonville History Center.
While Jacksonville continues to grow and change, much of its history lives in places like this. Organizations like the Jacksonville Historical Center work behind the scenes to make sure these stories aren't lost, preserving documents, photos, and memories that help connect the city's past to its present.
We have an archives department that uses the best practices of preservation, and we keep materials in archival quality boxes and folders in climate-controlled conditions where we manage the temperature and humidity in order to maintain the ideal balance to prevent rare and sensitive documents, photo negatives, and photographs and maps and other items from deteriorating. In the roughly 2 decades after the Great Fire, entrepreneurs, architects, engineers, builders, investors were drawn to Jacksonville because they saw it as a blank canvas, a place of opportunity. And indeed, they used the emerging new technologies and avenues of finance and other infrastructure of the time to basically build a city that was a brand new renaissance on the site of a city that had been built mostly in the 19th century. If there was an absence of historic education and understanding, there would be an absence of awareness and recognition about how we got to the place that we're in presently.
By protecting Jacksonville's history today, organizations like this help keep the city's story alive for future generations. Isabella Lazo, Inside Jacksonville.
The Jacksonville History Center offers exhibits, archives, and educational programs for the public. For more information, visit jaxhistory.org. One small business owner took matters into his own hands and began sharing his family's story through donuts. Inside Jacksonville's Jessica Lee takes us to meet the owner of Dofi Donuts, a small donut cafe hidden by the St. Johns River.
To the owner of this local donut shop, closing early is a great sign. Why? Because Dofi donuts are made fresh every day and any leftovers are thrown out.
We like everything fresh, so every morning I come in, we mix our own flour and everything every morning, and we use real egg, milk, and butter, whereas other places, like, they just use simple stuff, just water and yeast, and that's it, and we want ours to be different.
The donut recipe is not the only thing different about Dofi. Ton opened the restaurant for his son, Kingston, who's on the autism spectrum. After opening the cafe, Ton has met many others with unique disabilities.
When I was diagnosed, literally, like, no one knew what it was. I would call foundation, they're like, what kind of MS is that? So I guess, like, I talked to Ton about it, and then we could relate because his son has autism. So we were able to build that relationship, because we understood each other, how, difficult it can be.
Another addition inspired by Kingston is the unique play area, keeping in mind what toys Kingston likes. Ton made the cafe kid and family friendly.
People with unique abilities, sometimes they hide or shelter or hide their kids and don't bring them anywhere because they're afraid to be judged or just to be seen in public. And when they come here, the parents could relax, the kids could play, and it's all family fun.
Ton is Cambodian, and it's something that he's embracing in this cafe. Between the fun play area and cool new donut flavors, he's also introduced egg rolls and Spam to his breakfast cafe menu.
I'm not ashamed to be Asian, as you could see, so we try to bring different concept of donuts-wise. So we have a Cambodian donut. Everyone always asks, is that a honey glaze or is that a glazed donut? About 2 years ago, my grandmother passed away. We made it for her funeral, and then we're like, it was a big success, so we just brought it in so we could share our culture to everybody here.
For one customer, trying new things drives his passion for coming in to get his weekly fix of an ube donut, Spam sandwich, and coffee.
I don't see so much representation of other cultures and food like that, but I really like seeing different options, or not necessarily fusion, but just new items on the table.
It's not just inclusivity for people with disabilities, but also different cultures. Jessica Lee, Inside Jacksonville.
Located on Bay Meadows Road, Dofi Donuts is open from 7 to 2 on weekdays and 8 to 2 on weekends. But you better run quick because they sell out fast. Coming up, from spinning wheels to one-of-a-kind creations, a local pottery studio is giving the community a hands-on way to slow down and get creative. Also after the break, music, food, and traditions from around the world, all in one place right here in Jacksonville. We'll take a look at how the World of Nations Festival brings cultures together and turns downtown into a global celebration. Welcome back to Inside Jacksonville. Up next, the Jacksonville Pottery Studio is bringing the community together one ball of clay at a time. Inside Jacksonville's Lily Mitchell takes a peek inside to see what it's all about.
The Jacksonville Pottery Studio is a welcoming space that offers workshops, classes, and memberships to everyone, no skills required. About 3 years ago, the studio moved into a larger building, nearly doubling in size, to have more room for pottery wheels, wedging tables, and tools. Along with their supplies and materials, they've been able to grow their community as well. Peyton Delaney is the retail manager at Jacksonville Pottery Studio and believes that people are a big part of why someone should become a member.
The community is great. Our members are great. If you're a new member, when you walk in, all the members introduce themselves. We have like a really good community. So
Whether you take a hand-building class or a full-day workshop, you're fully zoned in on whatever you're working on. Hannah Middlebrooks is a studio assistant here and teaches an intensive 5-week beginner course.
I think mentally it's just a good break. When you're throwing on the wheel, you can't think about anything else.
The Jacksonville Pottery Studio is not only a place to create, but a place to escape. When you walk in, your brain shuts everything else out in order to focus on what's going on in front of you. So for those facing stress or burnout, whether it be from classes or school or even both, it can be beneficial to redirect your worries into creative outlets such as ceramics. Not to mention, your hard work pays off when you get to take your piece home. That's something that sets pottery apart from other art forms. You have the opportunity to create something to use in your daily routine. However, getting there is a much harder process than it seems. Throwing on the wheel is not easy at first.
Just like any other skill, you got to practice. There's a lot of moving parts with what's happening with your hands and your speed and your feet and your body positioning. It's a lot to learn all at once.
It even comes down to how you feel. Your emotions reflect on the clay you're working with.
be easy on yourself, go easy on yourself, and enjoy the ride.
Whether you choose to take a class or become a member, the Jacksonville Pottery Studio is open Tuesday through Saturday. Lily Mitchell, Inside Jacksonville.
The Jacksonville Pottery Studio encourages everyone to take time to dig into their creativity. To learn more or to book a class, visit jaxpottery.com. Inside Jacksonville's Laurelise Rea takes us to downtown to visit the World of Nations celebration, where cultures from around the world come together in one place.
At Jacksonville's World of Nations celebration, cultures from around the world come together in one place. Visitors can explore traditions through food, music, and displays of countries from every continent.
As a Latina, when we go immigrate to another country, we try to keep our identity while still assimilating to the new culture as well. So being able to do something like showing who we are and what is a representation of our culture just helps tie us back to our roots.
Performances are a big part of the celebration. Throughout the festival, dancers take the stage to showcase their traditional music and dances that reflect the history and culture from their home countries.
Our culture is so beautiful and we don't get as much highlights. You know, they love South Sudanese when it comes to basketball, when it comes to modeling, but we don't get a chance to really dive into the real culture and show our traditional dances, our traditional food that we have out here today. So to be able to showcase that to the world, it means so much.
Here at World of Nations, you don't have to travel far to experience cultures from around the world. Behind me, vendors and volunteers are proudly representing their home countries. Some of them returning year after year. This event isn't just about food and performances, but about sharing their cultures with people around the world.
For some volunteers, coming back to the festival has become a tradition of its own. Melau Time owner from Venezuela say this year's mark her fourth time returning to share her culture and traditional flavors with the community.
I feel so grateful to participate in that kind of event because it's a great opportunity to show our culture, our flavors, our traditional flavors, and all the amazing things that we have like a Venezuelan entrepreneur.
Volunteers say events like this also help people reconnect with their culture while living far from home. It gives them the opportunity to share their traditions from where they come from.
We are so far away from our own country and getting together in this country and remembering things from where we originally are from, it's very, very nice.
World of Nations bring people from different cultures together, giving the community a chance to experience traditions and flavors from around the world. The festival will return again next year, inviting visitors to experience the world right here in Jacksonville. Reporting Laurelise Rea, Inside Jacksonville.
The World of Nations celebration continues to bring cultures together in downtown Jacksonville, and it is expected to make a return to the city next year. Sometimes the best kind of therapy comes from 4 legs and wagging tails. After the break, how therapy animals are bringing comfort, smiles, and a little extra support to people who need it most. Also, fast rallies, friendly competition, and a whole lot of fun. This indoor pickleball spot is serving up more than just a game. Coming up, a closer look at the local court bringing players of all ages together. You're watching Inside Jacksonville on CW 17. Welcome back. Next up, inside Jacksonville's Evernie Benjamin takes us to the campus of the University of North Florida to discuss the benefits of therapy animals.
Therapy animals are quite common to see and hear about, but what exactly is a therapy animal? I asked Dr. Carlene Taylor to explain what a therapy animal is.
A therapy animal is a specially trained and qualified animal. They're usually dogs, but there are other animals that can qualify as well, who are able to work with humans for some therapeutic purpose. There's a lot of different kinds of therapeutic purposes, but the important part is the animal has the right temperament, that they want to engage with others, and then they have specialized training, and then there is assessment.
Therapy animals have many different benefits, according to Dr. Taylor.
Well, there are emotional, psychological, physiological benefits, social benefits. Animals will help lower our blood pressure, they help reduce stress, they improve mood, and they improve social connection. The volunteer visiting therapy animals is important for a lot of different reasons. For one, it's the benefit that they get, that the handler gets. The handler who takes care of that dog and who is socialized with that dog gets to go out and go at the other end of the leash. For their visits as well, and that is that sense of altruism and being able to do good.
I later asked why the presence of therapy animals is important. Dr. Taylor gave her thoughts on the handler-animal relationship as well as how the animals help the general public.
Many people can't have or do not have an animal. Or they're disconnected from it for whatever reason. So by therapy animals being in the world, in the volunteer visiting sense, then it allows them to continue to have that connection to the animal.
I'm here at a Campus Canines event to learn more about the program from the student coordinator, Lila Blanchard.
Campus Canines program is where we invite volunteers from the community who are registered handlers with their canines, and we bring them into student spaces to help increase student well-being and decrease their stress.
I asked Lila about some of the benefits as well as the overall importance of having a Campus Canines program.
The benefits are just having students interact with the canines, as dogs are a source of comfort for a lot of people. So it is just a really accessible and simple and creative way to kind of just give our students that little breath of fresh air.
Evernie Benjamin, Inside Jacksonville.
For more information on the Campus Canines program, visit the Campus Canines page on the University of North Florida website. Pickleball continues to grow in popularity across Northeast Florida, but playing in the Florida heat can come with its own challenges. Inside Jacksonville's Jason Mata shows us how players are adapting.
Pickleball has quickly become one of the fastest growing sports in the country, but here in Florida, the weather can play almost as big of a role as the competition itself.
In the summertime, it definitely affects you. It's like 90 degrees here when you're playing outdoors. You're, sweating. You're about to have a heat stroke. I mean, it's pretty tough.
High temperatures, humidity, and sudden rain can make outdoor play unpredictable. That's one reason many players are turning to indoor courts, where the conditions stay the same throughout the match.
The biggest difference between playing indoors and outdoors is definitely the outside effect. Indoors, there's no wind. You don't have to compete with that. Outdoors, there is wind. It is nicer to play outdoors sometimes, but indoors, they keep their courts a lot nicer. Outdoors are usually pretty dirty. I'm an advocate for indoor courts.
For the majority of players here in Florida, the weather is just part of the game. But now having the option to play either indoor or outdoors is giving players a chance to stay in the game just a little bit longer and have one more match.
And as more players begin looking for indoor options, facilities across Northeast Florida are starting to appear to meet that demand. Places like Holy Balls in St. Augustine and other indoor courts around the area are giving players another way to stay on the court, regardless of the weather.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the weather dictates a lot, whether it's windy or hot or cold or rainy or whatever. I think the indoors obviously provides a respite from that for sure. But I think one of the things that happens after people start playing indoor, and there's no elements, and the consistency of your play becomes more profound, and your improvement accelerates in a big way when you start playing indoors.
Whether playing under the Florida sun or inside a controlled environment, one thing is clear. pickleball's popularity across Northeast Florida shows no signs of slowing down. And with more players picking up paddles every year, both indoor and outdoor courts are continuing to give the sport room to grow. Jason Mata, Inside Jacksonville.
Players say as the sport continues to grow, having more places to play, both indoor and outdoor, is helping even more people get into the game. Downtown Fernandina Beach's new paid parking policy is raising concerns for some small businesses. At the Fernandina Beach Farmers Market, vendors say the change could impact their busiest hours. Inside Jacksonville's Caitlin Wright spoke with vendors about the potential effect.
Every Saturday morning, vendors line North 7th Street of downtown Fernandina Beach for the weekly farmers market. But with the new paid parking policy now in place, some say it could make it harder for customers to stop by.
Oh, absolutely. We've got, first off, all of the locals pretty much are against it. So just by anger, they're not going to come initially.
Market manager Judy Mackey says vendors are already adjusting how they set up and park during the event to avoid extra cost. She says some sellers who come from outside city limits are now trying to find ways to park closer to their tents without having to pay for several hours of parking.
Over here, we've got cars parked behind the tents. We've never done that before. I mean, last thing we want is our vendors who come here to have to pay to park.
Paid parking on Saturdays is from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., but just 45 minutes after the start, the crowds here have already started to dwindle, and that makes vendors nervous.
Probably the busiest time we have at the market is between 10:30 and noon. So that's the peak, that's right there during paid parking hours, and I think it's definitely possible. There's a lot of people really upset about paid parking. It was not something that the constituents wanted or that, any of the locals wanted, and so I think a lot of people are not going to be coming out, and I think it could have very real impacts on business.
For many vendors, the farmers market isn't just a weekend hobby. The weekly event brings together small businesses, local farmers, and artisans, and for some, it represents a significant portion of their monthly income.
It's a side gig. It really generates about almost a third of my income monthly, and really helps me a bunch. And I'm really worried about the downtown parking because it'll stop people from coming.
Vendors say the farmers market has always relied on steady foot traffic from locals and tourists visiting downtown. Some vendors say they'll be watching attendance in the coming weeks to see whether the new policy affects turnout. Caitlin Wright, Inside Jacksonville.
City officials say the paid parking program is intended to improve parking availability in the downtown area, as well as to help fund city projects. Well, that's a wrap for this edition of Inside Jacksonville. If you missed anything from today's program, just visit our website, unftv.com, and look under the Digital Journalism tab where you'll find expanded versions of our stories, photos, interviews, and other extras. Again, that's unftv.com. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube at Inside Jacks UNF. From all of us here at Inside Jacksonville, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next month right here on the CW 17.